the issues surrounding the fuel prices. We brought you all the numbers on this morning's segment before we allowed you to call into the show. We showed you how the global prices look. We gave you a sense of the price build-up, the components, which components are significant, the tax component, the margins, just to paint a picture of what the options look like for government if government intends to intervene and come to our aid. And we made a point quite strongly that, yes, we operate a deregulated market, but there's a role that the state plays in all of this. And last month, just at the latter part, we had a new month actually, we're in April. So when I say last month, I'm referring to March. There was a statement from the NPA that indicated what the floor price should be. And we've seen some of the OMCs so far peg their adjusted price just as the floor price, not going beyond it. We've also seen some of the OMCs go above it as well, all in terms of trying to make up for how the things are looking, and also taking into account their own place within the market space as well, just to make some good money. So all those are matters that would engage our attention this morning. But just to give you a sense of what government is considering, His Excellency the President spoke on this particular matter, and he indicated that if things do not change in terms of the global outlook particularly, then government may consider looking at some of the tax handles that are on petroleum products. Let's take a listen to the President, John Dramani Mahama.
Beginning to enjoy some of the lowest fuel prices in a long time. Unfortunately, they say man proposes, God disposes. I don't know what came into the heads of Trump, Netanyahu, and all of them to start this war. If this had happened when the cedi was at 17, we probably could not have been able to survive. The push factor is coming from the price of crude oil and finished products. We've absorbed it. If this thing continues some more, then we'll have to take some decisive decisions. Some of the weapons we have is to look at the margins to try and cushion consumers, and then also look at the recently imposed 1 cedi development levy to try and cushion consumers.
So yeah, the president there. So what has to do with the recent levy that we all talked about not too long ago. Then also the margins possibility as well, also taking a look at that as well. So those are two options that we can safely say that government is potentially considering. And in all of this and outside of it, we all know the politics of fuel prices. We know the politics of it. We've heard various presidents, various presidential candidates make politics out of fuel prices. Then another dimension to all of this is the global impact and local politics. Again, that is also another heated political matter that we've had over the period. Whether we should safely say that we shouldn't be impacted, we should be impacted. All of that analysis is all part of the conversation that we would obviously expect those around the table with me this morning to make reference to. But we are going to have a conversation around all of this just to understand where we are and what next to do. And thankfully, an interesting panel this morning, as always, on Wednesdays. Godwin Eduji Tamaklo is CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, a legal practitioner as well. I guess the legal practice on hold. Senior, good morning. Thank you for joining us as always.
My brother Blay, good morning. Good morning to Solo, and good morning to Awa and our cherished viewers.
He's introduced you to the other guests around the table as well. So joining us as well, Solomon Owusu, a regular on this belt always. He is the communications director for the United Party in the middle there. His friend Dr. Zato is not around this morning, but his other friend Awal Mohammed is right opposite me. Awal Mohammed is with the New Patriotic Party, a member of the communications team. Awal, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us as always. I think this is the first time I'm meeting you, so nice to meet you.
Yes, that's true. Nice to meet you too. And I think this is the first time I'm also coming back since November 2024.
Oh,
yes. And interestingly, you scheduled me for a Wednesday because I was a regular on Wednesday. So it's just interesting.
It's good to have you back as well. Then maybe I should start with you just to welcome you. I mean,
when you have
prices.
You have the regulator himself here.
Yes, I want to start with you because I want you have concerns that he would deal with eventually. I mean, prices at the pumps, I've gone up. In fact, some of the OMCs started on 31st March. And the question that is being asked
Which is
is
supposed to be illegal, right?
in terms of the implementation takeoff. Well, we'll delve into all of that. And the question is, how can we protect consumers and stabilize the prices? We've heard from the president. The president gives us a sense of what they may be considering. A takeaway from that potentially is that it means that for now, we may not expect any action by government, because he says if it continues, so maybe a sit and watch approach. From the angle of the New Patriotic Party, what's your own understanding of the fuel economy as we are seeing, and what is happening on the global market?
Thank you so much, and good morning, cherished viewers, and thank you so much for the opportunity. But let me just respond to just a deliberate misinformation by the president, because if you check the video that you played, the president deliberately said that if the dollar was around 17 cedis, it wouldn't really, it would be disastrous for the country. We did not leave dollar at 17 cedis. In the entire 2024, the dollar never got to 17 cedis. We left it at 14.6. So that is the correction I want to make. And
first of all, the president also didn't say that in 2024 the dollar was 17. The president was categorical. There was a time in this country that the dollar went to 17.
Okay, so that was in 2022 when we had Russia-Ukraine. It also did not officially.
So don't say the
Bank of Ghana never projected 17. He lied.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed,
I'm saying.
Just give me a minute. Senior, hold on for me just for a second. Let me welcome into the conversation as well. There's too much fire here. Let's hold on a bit. Dr. Riverson Opon is CEO of COMAC, basically the group that represents, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Dr. Opon, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. I see that I feel the heat already.
You can feel the heat, eh? Yes, Doc, kindly position yourself, and let me start off with you. Already your members. I'll come back to Mr. Mohammed. Dr. Paul, if you could just adjust properly, just go back a little for us so that we can have this conversation. It's fine now. Thank you. Your members have already announced the adjustments. Some have taken effect already, even before today even starting off. From the Chamber's angle, is it fair to say that you didn't have much of a choice given the room that you have to operate, especially the floor price that we know was also announced by the regulator as well?
Yeah, thank you so much. Greetings to my seniors that I'm in the studio now. You can tell that is the first time for a long time that oil marketing companies could not wait for a window to start in order to change prices. And it tells you the heat that we are faring. And for me, in all these conversations that we've been having for the past 3 weeks or 4, it tells me that we as a country have a long way to go. And it's right on this particular studio I mentioned that we might politicize this critical moment, but it goes beyond politics. Comparing and distracting will not change anything. We've changed the prices before 1st of April. This is what we need to discuss. The heat is coming, and to be fair, we in Ghana are very lucky, and I'll be honest with you, the price that we saw in the international benchmark price change is not the same heat that we're feeling now. You see 8 to 15% increase, whereas on the international benchmark price has seen about 30% average. So, and in terms of supply security, we are still not bad. But what I'll tell you for sure is that the BDCs are still struggling to price within the selling window, you understand, because of spot outlet. But today I woke up, checked, and I realized that the prices are coming down. However, within a window that we're operating now, I believe, to be fair, the oil marketing companies are giving Ghanaians a very, very fair deal. I'm currently in Nigeria, and I'm telling you, the price here, even though Dangote refinery is here, the price increase is higher than whatever we've seen in Ghana. And then to end, I'll say that the government probably, I mean, I heard the question you asked, whether the government should come in now. I believe that there are talks. I didn't hear the president, unfortunately, but I believe that there will be talks to see if, because if, for example, the additional 1 cedi will be taken out. What I heard yesterday from a very reliable source is that they'll be doing so, because that's the money that is being used to pay for the gas we're using for electricity generation. Okay, and as we speak, Ghana doesn't own ENI any money because of that 1 cedi. So that makes very, very, very tough for the government to consider taking that levy off.
I mean, I want us to talk about the floor price. I mean, there's been some discussions around it. We've heard some of your members as well. Maybe a direct question. What is the general sense among your membership on this particular matter?
Great. So let me say that if there's one thing, okay, the regulator, thanks to NPA, has done for the industry, one of the major things that we've seen achieved with dialogue and with constant interaction with regulatory bodies is to the advantage of implementing the price floor. Okay, and I'll tell you that every member of mine is aligned with the price floor, and we understand the importance of keeping the price floor. All right, because in times like this, believe me, you would have suffered. Price war versus, the international hikes in prices would have killed the industry. Okay. Now, when you go to countries like Kenya and Tanzania, the eastern corridor of the African continent, there's no fuel to buy. Kenya declared holiday, work from home, because there's no fuel. Ethiopian Airlines is canceling flights because there's no jet fuel. You understand? So, like I said, we need a sustainable industry. And I also give this kind of scenario. We build a traffic light as a regulatory point to direct traffic. So the fact that one person will cross the red light doesn't mean that let's take the red light off and let's move as we want. You know the chaos that we're going to have. Okay? And I always said it. If you take this price off, the price floor off the market, the chaos you're going to see in the market, you have no idea. You're going to call NPA back to ask for the price floor to be brought back. So we are aligned, and we want it to be implemented and kept as it is.
But what we are seeing playing out is that those who basically, some of your members who control the market, they tend to go above it nonetheless. Whereas those who still want to get a bit more numbers, they peg it around the price floor. In fact, that's what we've seen from comparing some of the two major marketing companies. That basically, some would argue that it will still mean that the end effect may be the same. I don't know if you get that point.
I do. You see, thanks to history, we all know that the price war between Star Oil and Gold had started before this war. Okay, and we all know the dynamics in a very crazy market like the oil and gas downstream sector. This is what happens when two lions decide to fight. Is the grass cutters and all those small animals that suffer. We have more than 200 oil marketing companies in the country. You understand? Making it very difficult for the smaller ones to survive. We did not implement, and NPA is on the seat, can confirm that we did not implement the price floor to save the smaller ones. Even the big ones, top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20, who control 80% of the volumes in the country, are aligned with the price floor. So we didn't do it for the last 20 or the last 50 who are struggling. I think it's a phenomenon that is there to look at having fuel available, having fuel affordable, and having fuel in a quality medium for the ordinary Ghanaian to purchase. And let me say this: if you don't take care and we make this, a banter, and the MP wakes up one day and say, okay, we are tired of the public, we are taking it off. My brother, what you're going to see in the market, you'll be shocked. Understand? We are talking to our members to consider having a fair price today, because the BDCs are crying with the kind of price that the OMCs are calling for, because they cannot sell at those prices to them. Because when you look at the price floor, it's a cost price. It's just the average price of the market, which we all know. NPA knows the price at which every OMC buys from a BDC. And to sell below price floor, it doesn't just make sense. It cannot be justified economically. That you go and buy a fuel for 10 cedis, you add your tax for 14 cedis and come and sell that 12 cedis. Then are you not going to pay tax, or you're not going to pay the fuel? You understand? We need to pay for the supplies. That's the BDC side. The OMC side also need to pay the BDCs. If I tell you some OMCs who are owing BDCs, you'll be shocked. If I tell you some BDCs who are owing the traders, you'll be shocked. All because of this price war. It is not sustainable. That's what we are saying.
And Doc, finally, because you made reference to the product availability, in terms of your members getting it from the BDCs, how available has the product been, especially in the last 2 months?
Oh, we have not had any issue with product availability. And if we play our cards well with good pricing, or let me say right pricing, we will not be able to find, we're not going to see supply security as an issue in the country. The only time I foresee a supply security in the country is when, now, as we can see, the Asian market is in the Western corridors, looking for fuel from Dangote. The Asian market is now struggling with us in the European market from the same source, because their corridor is affected, right? I mean, their market corridor is affected. So if you're able to get a good price, if you're able to price war, that's our BDCs, then all the source of fuel from those sides will be moving to Asia instead of coming to the Western corridor. But as it stands now, I don't see any eminent supply security issues. With the lens I wear now.
All right, Doc, we'll leave it here for now. I know you have a program this morning in faraway Nigeria. Just tell your members today should hover around the price floor. Let's just be around it for all our sake. Thank you very much. Dr. Riverson Opon is the CEO for the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, joining us all the way from Nigeria this morning for this conversation. Sorry, I had to cut you in. Just to keep the fire in check, I think we all have our notepads and everything. Just make use of your time. Any comments, anything, just note it down. We all have chance to have a bite when each person is done, so no problem at all. So, Mr. Mohammed, let's go on.
Great, thank you so much. I still, for Dr. Riverson, my only comment on all the analysis that he had done is that the biggest OMC in terms of market sales and market share and sales is Star Oil. And Star Oil is saying that if you are able to take the price floor, they will be able to sell below the price floor. And this is what they are saying. They have 240 outlets across the country. And until last week, they sell the products more than any other marketing company in this country. But let me just leave that and let's come to the fuel prices that affect you and I very much. But let me still state that in the last 8 years of the NPA administration, there was no day that Bank of Ghana came out with a flyer or a communication to say that the dollar has got to 17 cedis. There was no day. So whether it was even in 2022, whether it was even in 2023, it never happened. So the president did not really paint the right picture. That is what I mean. And this is the fact. You can let your producers check these basic facts. On fuel prices, increments on fuel prices has reverberating effect on cost of living because it drives transport, production, and general consumer goods. So at any point in time, if any government will want to be sensitive enough to cushion its people, you look at the fuel prices and how to peg it. So I believe that with the stability we are seeing on paper today, if really this government wants us to see it happening on the grounds, they should be able to sell fuel at 12 cedis, that is for petrol, 12 cedis or less, and diesel, 16 cedis or less. And these are my reasons. One is the Dumsor levy. The Dumsor levy is the single biggest tax on the petrol buildup. It's the single biggest, 1 cedi. And it was imposed in June last year. And today, if they are able to take that Dumsor levy, if you check the prices that per liter that the NPA has released, 13.3. If they take that 1 cedi, it will be 12.3. If you take that 1 cedi from diesel, it will be 16 cedis. So clearly, you know that that draconian tax that was introduced in 2025 June must be really scrapped so that the Ghanaian will get some respite. It is draconian because a government that came and told you that we're going to ease the burden of the Ghanaian, so abolish some taxes. They mentioned e-levy, which is a tax of choice because it is those who send Momo that pay for it, then betting and COVID-19. They were able to take the two in 2025 and COVID this 2026. But when you check the amount of money that these three tax handles give to government, this Dumsor levy alone is bigger than all. This Dumsor levy alone is bigger than all. So you have only created some convenience by taking it out because you said you take e-levy and others out, but you introduce a more draconian tax that every Ghanaian is paying on. And that's the reason we're saying that for now, you have really accumulated enough. So if you really want the Ghanaian to get some respite, the best thing is that try as much as possible to take that one out so that the Ghanaian will feel it at the pump. So it will be like 12 cedis. But I think they can still come down further because the main drivers of these fuel prices at the pump is the exchange rate and the world market price. And you see, you cannot tell us today that because the world market price has moved to over $100 per barrel, so Ghanaians should be able to really take the hit just after it has happened like this. Ghana produces oil and we export. And at the beginning of the year, if you read the 2026 budget, Atufosin projected that we will get 73 per barrel, $73 per barrel. So today, the last time I checked, it's 107. So we have 34 cedis windfall on each barrel that we export from this country. So the government should be able to use that to cushion the consumer. Because in 2022, the minister today, Minister for Energy, John Jinapo, held a press conference to say that indeed, if I had gone to 100, that time the benchmark was 60, we had around 40 windfall. It should be used to really cushion the consumer. That analogy at that time holds water because today they are in government and is the Minister for Energy. So if it has gone up at the world market, we are also exporters of crude. And we're getting 34 cedis per barrel as a windfall, looking at what the benchmark set by Atufosin. So that is the second reason I'm saying that the government should be able to really bring it down, take the hit, use that windfall to offset and help the Ghanaian also get some kind of relief. The third one is the exchange rate. I went to Bank of Ghana. They are yet to release today's rate. And when you check the rate, as of last night, it is 10.9. So it means we have stability there. Against the backdrop that this year, between January and February, we're able to export. Our export bill is around $6.2 billion. And import is around 2.5. So we have trade surplus of 3.2 billion. So it means we'll be able to still cushion the exchange rate so that it will be stable. So if it's not insensitivity, why will the government still let us take the hit when indeed this one alone should be able to really help the Ghanaian get some relief?
You've been monitoring the prices. I think one thing we all agree on is the instability. Is it not too early for us to take substantive, drastic actions as against watching it and seeing what would look like a bit normal and take an action?
No, because you see, before the increase today, we have seen twice. And the only variable they tell us when they did the last one, from 10 to 12, from 12 to 13, is the world market price, the instability in the world market price. And this is just in the last 1 month. You understand? So it means from the day the Iran, US, Israel started, that was the day that Ghanaians started taking the hit. And that is the fact. The regulator is here.
Okay.
You understand? So that's why I mean that if these are the conditions that had held, definitely it will. Again, when you check the time we were living, we left diesel at around 15.6. Diesel was less than 16 cedis. Petrol was less than 16 cedis. Today, and that time, inflation was around 23 cedis, 23%. Dollar was around 14.6, and world market price was around 80 or so. And we're able to do 15 for diesel. Today, diesel is 17, that is the floor price. So it means at least the government can do something about it. So this one just lasted for only some few weeks. This is about the 15th, the fourth week or fifth week of that war. And we were told by the president that Russia-Ukraine cannot affect Ghana because if you look at the mileage from here to Ukraine, it's around 7,000 kilometers. Same as as Iran. It's also far away from Ghana. So that analogy does not really work. Let's see the stability we are talking about on paper, on the grounds, so that the Ghanaian will feel some relief. Okay. That's what I submit.
Let me come to you, CEO of NPA, Mr. Tamaklo. And earlier on, we showed a bit of the global price and we looked at it from the angle of the regulator, and we heard from His Excellency as well. Do you get a sense that, like the President expressed, that it's still a wait and watch approach, and if this trend continues, then something should be done about it immediately?
Okay, so I think it's only fair that I straighten a few issues. I think the conversation should be structured well so that the discerning viewers and possibly listeners can appreciate what the issues are. So what we need to know is that around 1st to 15th November 2024, and I want to use 2024 as a benchmark. If you went to the international market and you needed to buy a liter, so a metric ton of diesel, you need $666.38. $666.38 to get 1 metric ton of diesel. By the second window, because of the window connection, 16th to 30th November 2024, you needed $666 to buy 1 metric ton of diesel. But even at that time, on the 4th of December 2024, at the time when a metric ton was selling for 666.61, a liter of diesel was going for 15.80 Ghana cedis. In fact, that's December 4th. In fact, if you look, Bamia in going for the flag bearership contest said even him as flag bearer, he didn't know that fuel prices were going to be increased 3 days to the election. So that's a matter of public record. So on 4th December 2024, even though a metric ton of diesel was just $667, we're selling diesel for 15.80. Joy News, Joy Business is online. You can even check. Now, it's also important to make this point. Before the war, a metric ton of diesel was going for 695, higher than it was by 2024. It's important. These numbers I'm giving you for a good reason. So, before this war, a metric ton that was 667 in 2024 has now gone up to $700 per metric ton. However, petroleum products at the pumps were selling below 15.80 as of 2024, December 4th. That's the record. This record, you can't do anything about it. Now, what has driven, even though a metric ton, the price of a metric ton, as at that time, is simply because of the better management of the exchange rates. We can do our politics, but the fact is the fact, because you can't change the facts. In fact, by December, petroleum prices have come so low that they were selling even below 10 Ghana cedis at a point in this country. That's the record. You can't do anything about it. Now, guess what? Today, as we speak, do you know the price of a metric ton? Do you know the price?
When we did it per ton, it was more than 100. You
are talking about
when we did it per
barrel.
Ton, yes,
you are talking about barrel. You see, we don't go and buy barrels. We buy the refined product. So that's the proper analysis you need to do. So before the war, you were doing 695.94. You understand? Today, as we speak, it is $1,425.27 for every metric ton of diesel. Now, when you do all of this, there's something they call within the traders the supplier's premium. Usually, the supplier's premium is determined insurance, cost rates, the issues about vessel availability and others. Before the war, do you know the premium? $20. $20. Today, as you speak, do you know the premium? It's $170 to $200. That's the premium you are paying, from $20 to $200. And you come and sit here and say, what? I personally, I don't, I respect my brother, but he has never been part of any decision making. What they do is to prepare the notes, he speaks to it.
No.
So he can sit here comfortably and say, you know what, and this one, do this. He's never been part of decision makers. He doesn't even know what goes into the decision making.
But before your appointment, you were not
please.
He cannot really
I
say
thought
that.
We all agree that we're going to leave notes. Hold on for me. Yes,
you were saying a lot. I just decided to write.
Right.
You see, the most important thing that we should all acknowledge is the fact that the dynamics have changed. The price for metric ton has doubled. In fact, from 695.94 to 1,425.27. Twice has the price at the pump doubled before the war and now? No. Why? Because the Ghana cedi and its management has cushioned the full impact. You can't run away from that. So you can do your politics. And look, as for petrol politics, I grew up in a situation where ministers of finance were the ones announcing petroleum prices. I remember growing up, Richard Kwampe, Honorable, you announced, our parents would be sitting by the radio, GBC 1, GBC 2, to just hear the price. And that would be it. The situations have changed. I saw J.H. Mensah in 2000 election holding a gallon of petrol. Petrol no mutimito ana near there be. We have seen things in this country. But today, we have a situation where even regardless of the conflict there, we should be paying twice the amount. And like I said, as for these numbers, you can easily check. The BDCs are there. You can speak to them after this. Ask them whether supply a price of a metric ton has not averaged between 1425.27. It's easily verifiable.
Okay. So
but let me do this. You see, I had the conversation that, oh, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. First of all, we gave a justification for the 1 Ghana cedi. We took over energy sector that was completely run down. Facts. The debt of ECG alone is a matter of public record. You can't debate it. It has not been contested. The debt of ECG. The debt owed the independent power producers has never been contested. In fact, at a point, out of the reckless mismanagement of the economy, the World Bank guarantee provided for the Tain field, we have run it down. Record. Recklessness. We've tolerated all this before. Do you know something? President Mahama, in his vision, in 2015 December, set up what is known as the Energy Sector Levies Act, ESLA. In the ESLA is what is called the Price Stabilization Fund. So that, and if you read the original ESLA Act, it says that the reason for the Price Stabilization Fund is to accumulate some fund that in times of crisis, you can use that money to cushion the impact. Do you know what the NPP did with that money? 1st November 2022, and when I give you the number. First window, we're selling petroleum product at 23 Ghana cedi. Diesel is sold 23 Ghana cedi. Yeah. At that time, we had the Price Stabilization Fund.
Which date are you talking?
1st November 2022.
It was 23.49.
23.49. Good.
And it's lasted for 15 days.
Please. That's the record. Whether it lasted for a day or 14, 15 days, we sold for 23.40. That's the record. At that time, when we're selling, do you know the exchange rate? 17.20. That's the record President Mahama talked about.
That's not correct.
You can't run away. These are data. In fact, if you go on CTFM now, the dollar at a point was selling for 17.20.
But not Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana never sold 17. Never.
You see, we have the opportunity. And let me make the point. The Price Stabilization Fund that was supposed to be used to cushion, they came and set up what is known as ESLA PLC and decided to borrow Eurobonds using the ESLA receivables. So the Price Stabilization Fund that was supposed to use to mitigate the harsh impact, we have mortgaged it to our debtors. Now you come and sit when their debt commitment, who signed the dubious DDEP? The most horrendous thing ever to happen to savings of Ghanaians was a domestic debt exchange program. Even Achampong, who did Yentuya, never got to the point where ordinary Ghanaian savings would be taken from them. It had never happened in the history of this country.
Okay.
We went through that. Today, as we speak, there are commitments. We've tied our hands. Today, as we speak, the price stabilization and others that you could use, you decided to take ESLA bonds, and guess what? They told the bondholders that will repay their bonds by 2035. They want us to default. Then they will say, oh, President Mahama has defaulted. Any Any proposal from an NPP person, look at it with circumspection. Remember, in this country, they've even advised us to go and borrow to give cocoa farmers. So that immediately you do that, maize farmers will be on your neck. Immediately you do that, poultry farmers will be on your neck. So you must always treat with caution any therapy advanced by our friends. President Mahama, in a very candid conversation, very candid, he said, look, we have the benefit of checking how this scenario will go. And that if it becomes very critical, as a government, we will consider reviewing and doing reassessment of levies and taxes that have been imposed. That, for me, is a very fair, candid proposition that the president and the father of this country has said. Let nobody take this for granted with respect. If today a metric ton, as we speak, has doubled from 6,959.4 to 1,425. What it means that if you put the entire impact on us, we should be buying diesel twice the value. Are we buying it so? No, simply because the Ghana cedi has absorbed the potential impact. And look, there's one thing I like about the Ghanaian. The ordinary Ghanaian is very discerning and sympathetic to government cause. Remember that even when we imposed the 1 Ghana cedi on petroleum products, we never saw petroleum product the value that we took the NPP onto this geopolitical conversation.
So, as far as you are concerned, we are not at that critical stage yet.
Like the president pointed out, the president, and you see, the president has a better briefing. I will do my part, finance will do their part, all other sectors will give their, and he does all the analysis. And from what he is saying, he's looking at it, and if you watch the video you played, he made it very clear that if it gets to the point where government would have to intervene, he will not hesitate at all to make things easier for our people.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Okay.
But we cannot, in the midst of politicking, lie.
Okay.
If you sold petroleum products and you bought it at $660 per metric ton, and even that, you were selling it at 15.8 Ghana cedi per liter, because the exchange rate was then doing 15 to 14. Today, the exchange rate is doing 10.5, 10.7, 10.8. And that is what has shook the pressure.
I'll come back to you, Mr.
We won't
Tamaklo.
take any lesson on competence from you people, with respect.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Tamaklo, shortly. Emily, you have some reactions?
Okay, I was thinking you would go solo before me. Okay, no problem. So one is that he, with his competence and everything that he is part of decision making, he couldn't contradict a single thing that I said here. Not even one. I mentioned the Doomsday levy and why it should be removed and why it is draconian. He never addressed that. Two is that I mentioned the barrel and the amount of money we are getting as a windfall from our export. That he also did not do that. I don't need to be at a boardroom to understand these facts, because before he went to that boardroom, he was discussing fuel on this table.
Okay.
Whereas that is one. Two is that he talked about energy debt. My goodness. Kufuor bequeathed to you $950 million in 2009. When you were living, it was $2.5 billion. Today, as we left in December 2024, we left 3.1. Now, the question of ESLA PLC and so on. You see, when we came, we did not only inherit 2.5 billion. We inherited take or pay agreements that is committing this government to pay, government of Ghana, to pay over $500 million annually. By 2019, we gave Car Power $367 million.
Okay.
In something that we did not even use. Okay. Idle plants. So that is the reason we had to set up, because we came and at VRA alone,
the debt there was over 10 billion Ghana cedi.
Okay.
We had to get this ESLA PLC to get the money so that we'll be able to keep the electricity on for the entire 80 years.
All right. Let me come to Mr. Usuna and Solo. Where do you stand on all of these matters?
Can I stand as an opposition party when I've come and do a constructive criticism? And you bring Awa to come and dilute the whole situation? It worries me because, you see, when the MPP speaks, it makes matters confusing and people begin to wonder whether we are doing serious politics. With the very issue he landed on. You are claiming that the finance minister projected $107 and it has gone beyond that, so there has been a gap. And that gap must be used to what? Cushion us. Forgetting that we have bought fuel 23.49 cities in this country in 2022. Now, in 2022, if he's going to go back to, he wasn't even in the MPP, so a lot of the things that the MPP did, he doesn't even understand.
In 2022,
I am referring you back to the 2022 budget of the MPP, what the finance minister then, what his projections were. He had projected that we were going to buy diesel, or we were going to sell it at $61. We ended up selling it at $80. Per your own analysis, why did he not use the gap to even the savings to cushion? To the extent that we had to buy fuel at 23 cities at 0.49 at the pump. Sometimes when you are speaking, you don't listen to yourself. So look, I will be the last person to advise President Mahama to remove the levy. He must not touch it. Where we are is a temporary measure. It's something that will not go that far. I can tell you that if you're a political pundit or a political party and you make any attempt to do politics with it, you'll be disgraced. Because what I see is that oil prices will fall drastically after this whole confusion. So where would you be in those times? It's going to happen. If you are following carefully what is happening, it will happen. Because the world will not be cajoled or be hoodwinked into something that will destroy the entire world's economy. So it will come down. We must also go back to why the levy itself was brought. Your party left a whooping $3 billion with IPPs. Chop. They didn't do anything. They just chopped. They took money and squandered it. And the Ghanaian has to pay for it. I didn't enjoy part of it. I have been called upon to pay for it. I have not even complained. You that supervise together with Dr. Mahmoud Baumia and Nana Akufo-Addo, you are now telling us that we should go and remove something that is paying for your money, the money that is in your pocket, that you should have been rounded up by now. We should stop. The last time the finance minister told us that he has paid about 1.47 billion out of the 3 billion. What I want from the finance minister is to tell us when we are going to finish paying, so that deal, until it is paid, they must not remove it. Either than that, we will continue to experience. Remember, they said we're going to use it to pay the IPPs, as well as buy fuel to power the various thermal plants. So if you remove all these, do we prefer sleeping in darkness or having electricity? How does that help in your industrialization agenda? Especially a party that has told us that they are coming to implement what we call 24-hour economy. Then you would have even defeated the entire government's, programs. Now, this is what I wanted to ask Reverson. From a business point of view, I'm confused with certain things. And I think that maybe EDG can help. Because for me, when you are dealing with a commodity like crude or petroleum, we have what we call spot sales and also futures. Now, are these BDCs telling me that the oil that they are buying today is what is going to be in our pumps at the various filling stations, for which reason we have to pay for it? Now, we must also ask, and I wanted to intervene for you to ask him, that when they buy the crude or the finished product, how long does it take to get to Ghana? If it takes 3 weeks, if it takes 4 weeks, it means what we are being served now are the products that they bought with the low rates. So on what basis am I paying for this? We need full disclosure in that regard. Because I would be extremely surprised that oil-producing countries like the Saudi Arabia, like the Oman, like the Kuwait, will be relying on spot price sales. How do you plan for your country? They mix it at times, but majority of the occasions, they do forward sales so that they can plan for their revenues. And if they are doing forward sales, on what basis are we giving this? So it's something that I'll leave it with you, the media houses. You may have to let them explain to us. If they buy the crude today, let's say today's world market price is 110. It will get to Ghana like 2 or 3 weeks. Is that not the case? So when it gets to Ghana, per their logic, and the rate, the international world market price has dropped to 60, it means they are going to sell something that they bought at a higher price at a lower price to us.
But should that not be in the mind of the regulator when they are doing the floor price? Because basically, if you pick, and we can be specific now,
yes,
they are basically at the floor price now. So
yes.
I mean, if they are fixing the floor price, they should be looking at that play out and decide
you see, it's a business decision. They are taking advantage of the NPA's policies. And what I'm saying is that from where I say, just like our cocoa, when we were doing futures, so let's take cocoa as a typical example. That the mere fact, if we sold our cocoa at the beginning or before the commencement of the season, I say 2,600, as it happened in 2023, and then the world market price at the point was 11,000. It didn't mean that Ghana was enjoying the 11,000 or the $9,000 per ton. Because we were selling ours, we are engaged in an agreement that pegged our price at what? 2,600. So regardless of the price on the international market, we will be paying 2,600. That is what mostly happens with the BDCs. So they must be doing a full disclosure. Either than that, we must empower BOSS, because the reason why BOSS is also there is to be storing enough energy. I think we don't have enough storage. Either than that, if we had a storage that could last us for more than 3 months, I tell you that we would not feel it. Now, you come back to the issue that my brother wanted to start with. Yes, the president was right. If the exchange rate was 17, we will be buying it at a higher price.
$30.
Because look, he quoted,
it was 14.3 at that time.
At what? When was that?
2022. Yes,
it's a lie. It was 16.4. According to the Bank of Ghana.
Which Bank of Ghana?
Bank of Ghana. I'm telling you, I'm sitting here saying which Bank of Ghana.
You come here with your figures who can cross-check. That's all.
You say what? 2022 to 14 cities. It's a palpable falsehood.
It's on CTF.
Now,
I'm saying that check from Bank of Ghana.
You see, you do a simple mathematics. See, he just told you that they ended the year, that is 2024, with a letter of diesel going at 15.30.
As at 4 December 2024.
So 15.30. At that time, the international world market price of crude was $73. Do a simple mathematics.
And in fact,
exchange rate was 15.11.
A metric ton
yes.
of diesel was 6666.
Yes.
0.28.
No, that's why you wouldn't understand. Let me even go by the crude that he understands. You understand? If at $73, we were buying crude at 15.3, simple proportion, at today's rate, if you take it at 110, we should be buying per the exchange rate at 22 cedis.
Yes.
So if the president says that, look, it is as a result of the prudent management of the economy, it's a fact. You see, we must begin to do politics of honesty. It doesn't hurt to come here and spew truth. Again, his reference to Russia, Ukraine is untenable.
But they stopped the war in Russia, Ukraine.
They still going.
No, the war has stopped.
No, the last time I raised the year, cried. You see, the truth of the matter is that you go and
went ballistic.
We will be sitting somewhere, not talking about Russia, Ukraine, and from nowhere, unprovoked, and you go and bring a matter that led you to your nemesis. In this country, we have never used external or exogenous factors in doing our politics. Until Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in 2015 introduced this into our political lexicon. That how can exogenous factors, bypass Cote d'Ivoire, bypass Burkina, bypass Mali, and only attack Ghana. That was when we had all these things. So when you started citing Russia, Ukraine, then people say, but you have said that it can never affect Ghana in any way. And so why this time? Then you turn it around and say that, no, you have said that it's far off. No. We have said if you have any policy, bring it. We have better policies. For instance, in the energy sector, we believe in equity, using debt as an equity. You know the IPPs that we owe them. We believe that we must use their debt as equity in the ECG so that they all manage it together. Then we have no business of paying any or putting any levy on our crude or our fuel, so that when they are managing it, they will not be engaging in extravagant life. They will not be engaging in procurement that is increased by a factor of 150%. Then you will be making a headway. Okay. Again, we believe that those that looted that sector, they must not be left off the hook. It's very important. We cannot be told by the former board chair, Afenyo Markins, that at the ECG is very normal to take cables away. And he still be walking around talking without being investigated. We let him show us how people stole it, and those that were involved as a board chair. We cannot have that happen to us.
Okay. Let me come to you, CEO, just briefly on this issue. I mean, the numbers and everything. For the ordinary Ghanaian, what they've seen in the last multiple windows is that the prices have gone up.
And you see, like I pointed out, look, never underestimate the intelligence of the ordinary person. They appreciate when government is doing something. Look, for all the time that we introduced the one Ghana city, petroleum price never got to the point that we pick from the NPP. The ordinary person appreciates. They appreciate that for 13 good months, they enjoyed very good petroleum prices, even with the one Ghana cedi. But for this intervention that we are seeing. But like my brother pointed out, maybe the NPP has structured its politics on getting Donald Trump and whoever to keep this war until God knows, maybe when Christ will come. But you see, like they did with Cocoa, they started the politics. Then Ivory Coast came in. Then we saw that no, this one, even if you were the one in, there's nothing you can do. Then now they move to Mahama Odeyeka. They have opened the whole conversation into talent discovery, where very serious national issues are reduced into, getting people to turn serious national conversation into something for the purposes of trade. Let me say this, and to the ordinary person, there are two things. When you have a crisis of this nature, not having the product available, and two, the price. Today, as we speak, if you watch the international news, India is struggling with prices, long queues. During Russia-Ukraine war, there was no such thing. Today is a unique one, because even though there was Russia-Ukraine, the Strait of Hormuz was open.
Yes.
So product could move. The last time we came close to anything was 1972. 1972, during the oil crisis.
Anything shortage?
Like this level.
Shortages like this.
Like this level was 1972. So what we must all appreciate, and the ordinary person appreciate,
what level?
Is the fact that as we speak, the ordinary person appreciate that he can still go regardless of the price and get product at the pump. That's no doubt. And let me assure you further that we have enough diesel in the country for 7 weeks. Beyond the 7 weeks, we have scheduled vessels right from now to the 19th of April. Almost one of them carrying 42,000 metric tons, 37,000 metric tons from now to April 19th. So like, you know, Riverson said, in terms of product availability, we have no problem whatsoever with it. That assurance I want to give to the ordinary person.
All right.
Look, do you know, this morning I was watching CNN, and then they turn out, even the cost of freight, aviation, fuel, had moved. I was just watching and I realized that today in the United States of America, what they call it, petrol or whatever they call it, it's now going for almost $4.55 in the US. It was just $2. And so what it tells you is that what is currently happening, at least in this country, the full impact, which would have been between 22, 23, 24, 25, the Ghana cedi and its management has dampened, has mitigated the full impact of it.
Okay.
Just imagine for a minute, having these people who today are pontificating, you know, on esoteric economic theories, managing this economy at 17, 16, or 15 Ghana cedi to the dollar. There would have been hell.
The last time we experienced shortages at the pumps was in 2014. This is a fact, and that was under Mahama. That is one. That is one. In the entire 8 years of our administration, there was no shortage.
There was product.
So it is not an issue in this country.
It was the IPC. It was
even today. What you have disagree with is for the BDCs and not the government. How much is the government?
What are you saying?
I'm saying that what we have in reserve today for the private people, largely the private people imported them.
For 8 years, they were owned by government.
So that is why I'm saying that. It is
for 8 years it was
for you to tell us that, for you to say that, well, there will not be shortage and so on. It has never been an issue in the 8 years of our administration. The last time shortages became an issue was in 2014 when you were in government, and that was Mahama first. That is one. Two is that they are talking as though that indeed they have done any magic. Today, the dollar that you are really touting that you have held it, you've strangulated it, it is anchored on gold. The gold that will be bequeathed to you. So gold, and this is a fact. No, I'm coming. Yes.
There was no gold.
Yes, because gold was never used as a reserve until 2023 when we started, let's push and buy gold. I'm coming. Why will you allow him to interrupt me when No. When I was also trying to clarify something from you. When I was also trying to clarify something from you, you never allow me. You never allow me to clarify.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that the gold that we bequeath to you, 30.1 tons that we bequeath to you, today you have sold it and shot up the dollar. Today we have less than 20. And you are telling us that we should clap for you because the gold we bought, kept it at Bank of Ghana. You've sold it because now gold has gone up to the extent that it has never gotten that stage. And you only sold it, brought it back, push it to cushion the city. And you are telling us that we should clap for you.
No, are you suggesting that they should not have done that? Is that what you're suggesting?
What I'm saying is that the thinking that went through, let's shift from dollar reserve to gold by Dr. Baumia in 2022 was that at a point like this, when we have a lot of pressure, we can sell that gold and make it and show up our city. And that is the reason. Yeah, because we were accumulating. No, it was we were doing accumulation. You understand? We were doing the accumulation and we were able to accumulate it. You see, when I say, to respond to Solo, when I say that indeed there is a windfall from our export in crude, in 2022 when the current energy minister espoused that theory, we said it was practically impossible. He said no. He stood in Parliament, held a press conference, and told us that we were projecting to get 61, and it had gotten to around 80. So the windfall there should be able to cushion the consumer. And I'm saying that, brought in that analogy because the same person who espoused that theory in 2022 is the same person who is the finance minister, who is the energy minister today. And the windfall we're experiencing today is even bigger than them. So why can't we use it to cushion?
Okay.
That's what I mean.
So now you have the final word.
Baomianomics states that when you have a gold reserve at the Bank of Ghana and you can sell to cushion or stabilize your dollar, don't sell it. Keep it.
No, and the IMF conditionalities were supposed to get to a threshold. And we got to that threshold in November. And that was the reason at that time, the Governor Bank of Ghana said that we could even bring the dollar to 10 cities.
You people will let Dr. Bawumia get a high blood pressure.
Because at that time, we were able to accumulate enough to be able to sell.
Your party sent you here to come and do a beautiful job. You come and expose your candidate. That your candidate says that you may have gold reserves there to sell it. And that gold reserves could stabilize our city. But Dr. Mahmoud said, we won't sell it. And that you will let Ghanaians suffer to the extent that crude oil price or price per liter of diesel will move up to 23.49. Keep quiet and let me talk. You see, you have come to destroy. Already the man is destroyed. You have come to finish it.
Mr. Mohammed.
He has finished it.
Mr. Mohammed.
You don't even understand what you're talking about.
Finish for me. It's when you have it, don't sell it to cushion the Ghanaian. Keep it.
No.
That is the Bawumia. But the truth of the matter is that I'll end by saying
not an IMF program?
that going forward,
Yes, because they have
my suggestion to this administration is that we
were doing intervention of 10 million, you were doing 1 billion.
You couldn't think outside the box.
My suggestion is that
And we were able to
Africa
keep
continental
going for you.
free trade area must be taken seriously so that we begin to do business amongst ourselves. I have heard a number of African countries now signing agreements with Dangote refinery. It's good that all the countries in Africa that are producing oil, we come together so that when there's any issue on the Strait of Hormuz or anywhere it may be, we will not suffer that much. Secondly, it pays to manage your currency very well. Remember where we are, we have gone to worse states than today. In 2008, somewhere July, world market price of crude rose to 147. But because at that time, the cedi to the dollar was 1 to 1.02, we were buying a liter at 1 cedi. It tells you how the management of a currency can help you have some respite. And that is what we will continue to encourage this administration to do, and not to listen to very diabolic minds like Awal and his flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who would have gold and know that when they sell the gold, we will have dollars, and the dollars will stabilize our city, and say that, look, we will never do it. We will put you people through problems, and then people will die out of it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Just 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds. You see, let the record reflect this. Through innovation, thinking outside the box, President Mahama set up the Gold Board. Do you know that in 1 year,
From precious marketing
gold
to gold board.
repatriation, forex repatriation alone into the country in 1 year amounted to $10 billion. Do you know how they were getting forex in the past? Eurobond.
Yes.
And so in 6 years, we did $11 billion of Eurobond alone. We have been in power for close over 1 year. Not $1 in Eurobond. But we kept things here.
Okay.
Simply because people have decided to think outside the box and also diversify our gold reserve. Listen carefully, that diversification was what was lost on them. So they were keeping the gold. Today, as we speak, you said our gold reserve had come down. Because today, by September, all the mining companies will give us close to 12 to 16, metric ton. We are back to the same position.
Okay.
So the opportunity is there. So what exactly do you want to do?
You're buying it higher.
And you know,
I don't know where the theory is coming from.
My learned friend, the problem is that, you see, Bawumia is looking back. He is having a moment. I wish I had done it.
But the man is destroying the
it is this I wish I had done it.
Okay.
That is what is creating desperation and fear. But you see, it is too late. You got 8 years. And listen to me carefully. Our friends in the NPP will tell you, Bawumia is the most popular vice president. Bawumia is the most hardworking. In all the wisdom that God gave him. Regrettably, he never for a minute remember that if you diversify our gold, you can. Oh, please.
What's the goal?
Please.
Who out of it?
For what? To keep it.
That's all time would allow us this morning for the discussion segment. My guests this morning have been Eddie Tamaklo is CEO of the National Petroleum Authority. Solomon Owusu is Director of Communication for the United Party. Awa Mohammed is with the New Patriotic Party. Join us in the studio as well. And Big Issue, as always, is sponsored by the University of Gold Coast. And whether you are aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing, communication, operations, supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, or business intelligence analytics, or you want to advance through our dual MBA or Chartered Manager MBA, University of Gold Coast gives you options that match your vision. And if your next step is an MSc in International Relations Communication, International Marketing, International Law, Security Diplomacy, Accounting, Finance, or Human Resource Management, an LLM in International Law, Security Diplomacy, or an MA in Biblical Studies, Practical Theology, the pathway is open. April admission is now open. You can apply today because at University of Gold Coast, we make it practical, flexible learning, flexible entry, and flexible payment. You can study around your work and life and choose a route that fits your background and also pay in convenient installments as well. Your dream deserves structure. Your future deserves strategy. Your purpose deserves training. You can apply at www.ugc.edu.gh or you can call or WhatsApp 026 388 855. University of Gold Coast, building leaders for the nations. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk some sports. Who is the next Black Stars coach? All those questions will be answered by the sports team, and they'll point us to how things are looking. Thank you very much for joining us for this segment.